Hello and welcome everybody, this is Roland Hartmann from graphicinmotion.com, and in this tutorial I will show you how to customize my Turntable Music Visualizer After Effects template. Before we get started with the customization itself, let's take a quick look at the content of this template. After you downloaded the file from Envato Market and unzipped it, you will see that there are actually a bunch of different After Effects projects included. Let me quickly explain the difference. The names already tell you a lot about these projects. We have actually three different resolutions. You see, we have two files with a 1080 x 1920 resolution, that's a vertical resolution for mobile phones. Then we have two files with a standard Full HD resolution, that's 1920 x 1080 horizontal orientated. And we have two files with an UltraHD 4K resolution, and that's 3860 x 2160 pixels. And each of these resolutions are available in two different After Effects versions. So we always have one file that is compatible with After Effects CC version 15 and above, and then we have a version that is compatible with After Effects CC 17 and above. So depending which resolution you need and depending which After Effects version you use, please select the right file and open it up in After Effects. For the purpose of this tutorial, I will use the horizontal Full HD version, and I am working in After Effects CC 17, so I will use this and I will open it up with After Effects. When you open up the template for the first time, you may encounter this problem that the turntable is not visible. And this means that Video Copilot's Element 3D plugin just lost track of the 3D elements, but don't worry, they are inside the project and I will show you how to relink them. And let me mention this again here, that this template requires Video Copilot's Element 3D plugin version 2.2. So let's go to the turntable layer inside our render composition. It should be already open in your timeline. And let's open up for a moment our Effect Controls panel. And let's press Scene Setup. Now Element 3D loads its settings and it says that it has detected some missing files. Do you want to relink them? Yes, we would like to relink them. Now you have to add a path here and then just navigate into our folder. So wherever you unzipped this visualizer folder, then you have footage and then you have 3D models. So just select this folder here, press OK. I don't need to do it because I already added it here. And then you will see that all the models that were missing get this check here. And then you can press OK and you will see all of the red ones will turn white. And within a moment you have your nice turntable model here and you can start working with it. So you see, this is the first awesome feature of this template, that this model here is included and you can use this with Element 3D inside After Effects. So let's press OK and you will see immediately that now our turntable will be visible in our project. So the first and most important step for a music visualizer is of course to add audio to our project. And therefore we will import some audio files, and therefore I go to File, Import, and I choose File. And I will use this one here, that is a preview file from Audio Jungle. You can also get this audio on Audio Jungle. A link is in the links folder and in the video description. Now let's move to the audio composition. It should be already open in your timeline. If it's not open, you can find it in the project panel right here. Double click to open it up. Now drag in your audio file and make sure that it aligns with frame 0, and this aligns perfectly. Now let's press LL on our keyboard to reveal the waveform. And you see, in this case here, I have actually two versions here. The first one I think has the vinyl noise and the other one doesn't. So I will use the first one and I will just cut it just to make it easy. Just at 1:45, 1 minute and 45 seconds. I will just trim it to this duration for now. So the next step is that you bring the audio indicator exactly at the end of your audio file. And you can do this by just selecting it and pressing O on your keyboard to move it to the out point. And you see, my audio is 1 minute 45 seconds long and I will memorize this duration. Now I will move to the render composition. In the render composition, the next step is that you select the turntable layer and press U to reveal the keyframes. Now we have to shift these keyframes right here, the end animation here. So let's select them by just dragging a rectangle around them. Now you press Ctrl or Command X on your keyboard, and then without moving your time indicator anywhere, just press Ctrl V and paste them in. These keyframes are controlling the animation of the tone arm in the end. As you see here, it's rising up and then it's moving back to its resting position. And this should happen, of course, after the end of your audio file. This is why we pasted these keyframes right here. Now, another very important thing that we have to do here is we have to reposition the work area, the end point of the work area, I should say. So you see that here my last keyframe, so the animation ends at around 1 minute and 51 seconds and 7 frames. So let's say I will just move to 1:52 seconds, and then I will drag out my work area. And this is important because the work area specifies the area that you will render when you are finished with your setup. So now everything is good. We have our end animation in place and our work area covers the whole animation and our whole audio file. And if you take a look now, you see already that some audio reaction is happening here. The next important step in this customization process is that we create some keyframes from our audio waveform. Therefore, we select our audio composition right here. And you see in your effect controls panel that there is a high and low pass effect on this. It's not activated. So let's activate it for now by clicking this little icon here that this FX is visible. And I chose to use a low pass. What I want to do now is that I create some keyframes using the low frequencies of my audio. And with these keyframes, I will control a few reaction effects. So let's do that. It's very simple. As I said, enable the high-low pass filter, specify the frequency where you want to cut out the frequencies that may differ depending on your audio file. The standard value here is 80. Now, another important thing here is, let's make sure that our time indicator is on frame 0. So let's just move it here to the beginning, frame 0, nice. Now select our audio composition or audio layer right here. Go to Animation, go to Keyframe Assistant and click Convert Audio to Keyframes. You see that After Effects now on top of your composition created a new layer that's called Audio Amplitude. Now let's press U here to reveal these keyframes. In this case, we just want to use these keyframes here of the both channels and on this slider. So just select the slider right here that all the keyframes turn blue and let's press Ctrl C to copy them. Now let's go to our Audio Amplitude Lows layer and press U on your keyboard to reveal the keyframes right here. You see we have another slider here and we want to delete these keyframes. We don't need these anymore. So let's just uncheck this little stopwatch here to delete the keyframes. And with our time indicator still on frame 0, select the slider directly here and press Ctrl V to paste in our keyframes. Now you can delete your Audio Amplitude layer. And another important step is go back to your audio layer immediately and turn off the high-low pass effect. Now let's select these keyframes again and let's open up the graph editor here. And let's take a look what we have. So you see we have a bunch of keyframes and they are representing the waveform and they are actually representing the low frequencies of our audio. I want to select all of these keyframes, therefore I just select this slider here directly, then all of them turn yellow. And I like to apply a smoother here. So if you do not have the smoother in your layout like I have it here, then you can go to Window and open it up right here. Then with the tolerance of 1, click Apply and After Effects will change these curves a little bit. Now the curves get a little bit smoother and it will work better for our audio reactions. The next important step is that you grab this little handle here on top and drag the values up. And we want to scale these values so that the peaks of our audio reaction or the peaks of our graph here are at approximately 100 units. You see the units are right here and you see now the peaks are approximately around 100, and this will work fine. Okay, now we can exit the graph editor. We can close this down. Now everything is working and everything is set up. So now all our audio reaction is working and we can stylize our visualizer. So I will show you the possibilities how you can stylize this. The first option that you have, because of course we have a label here, and of course you can stylize this label. So if you go to the vinyl disc label here, you see that this is just a rectangular composition. There are a bunch of different text layers here that you can use. You can of course also bring in your individual design, maybe just a JPEG or even a video or whatever you want. Whatever you put in here will then be visible on the record. So I will just demonstrate this, and I will just change this here. Let's say we put in your name here, and let's go to the render composition, and you will see that now this updates and it is visible now here in our visualizer. Great. So now I would recommend, if it's not already open in your layout, that you open up the Essential Graphics panel. And you can do this here by going to Windows and going to the Essential Graphics right here. In the Essential Graphics, we will do the setup of our audio visualizer. The first slider that you see here is audio duration in seconds. It's important that you put in a value in seconds here. So, of course, I forgot now how long my audio is. Let's move to the out point here. Yeah, 1 minute 45 seconds. So this is pretty easy to calculate. How many seconds are 1 minute and 45? These are 105 seconds. So let's put in here 105. That's important that you do this, because otherwise the movement of our tone arm will not be correct. The next step, or the next option that we have, are the titles. And you see, if you open up the titles, then we have a source text here that says artist name. You can put in your name here. And you see immediately that it will update right here, and it will also update here on this display that is visible here in the corner. You can stylize the font, change the color, everything, and you can do the same for the song title right here. So let's move on. We have the option to change the frame color. You see that there is actually a frame around this visualizer. If you do not want this frame, then just turn it off. Right here in the render composition, there is this frame layer. You can turn this off and on right here. You can change the color right here. And you can, of course, also change the width if you want to do so. I'll undo this for now. And now we get to some more exciting features. Open up the camera controls. So first of all, you see we have zoom reaction and shake reaction, and you can turn these on and off. And it's pretty simple. The zoom and the shake reaction are reacting to the amplitudes that we created here. So the zoom means that it zooms in when with your frequencies or with your audio, in rhythm with the audio. As you can see here, now our view jumped in a little bit, and if I turn this off, then the camera will just be static and will not change its perspective. The same applies for the shake reaction. The shake reaction, you can turn it on and off. It just applies a slight shaking of the camera, and this enhances a little bit the energy of your audio and of your reaction. Then we have the zoom strength, and the zoom strength is just a multiplier. So for example, if I put in here a very high value, let's say 20 maybe, then you will see that this zoom is now way more intense, and we will zoom in way further with our audio or through the audio reaction. The standard value here is 7. The next option that you have is pretty powerful, and these are the rotations of the camera. So you see right now I have an angle of 45 degrees on my turntable, but if you set this, for example, to 0, then you see that we face it pretty straight forward, which looks also very cool. And you can now also change the X rotation. So for example, you can create a really low angle version here that looks also pretty cool if you like that. Or you can also create a top version here if you put it in like this. You see now, of course, the camera is not positioned perfectly, but you can change that. So the distance between the camera and our turntable is controlled by the set position value right here. So if we set this to maybe minus 3500, and it's important that you always put in a negative value here, or even more, like minus 4000, you see that now our turntable is fully visible in our frame. And now we have to change the focus distance, of course, because this is now not working. So let's put this to 3900, and now everything is in focus again. Now you see that the turntable is not perfectly aligned, so here is a bigger distance than here, and you can change these and the next settings in the turntable settings. So if we open this up, you see we have this little display submenu here. Let's just close this for now, and let's take a look here at the position. And you have this X position here, and you can enter the value here. So if I put this to 960, then it should be perfectly aligned in the middle. This way you can correct the position of the turntable depending on the layout that you want. So let's say in my case, I don't want to create this top view here. I just want to create maybe, let's say, something like this, because actually I really like this. It looks really cool. I don't want to be that far away, so I go to minus 3300 maybe. Maybe this, yeah, that looks good. And now let's change our focus distance again to something like 3000, and then the turntable should be in focus nicely. That looks really nice. So the next option that you have, we have the rotation speed, so you can increase the speed of the turntable or decrease it however you want. And we have these color controls, and these are pretty important. So let's start with the bottom one here with the background color. And you see, if I make this quite dark, then the whole thing changes quite a bit. This is also a very nice style. So let's say I want to create a dark version now. Then I could change the body color of the turntable. You can use whatever you want here. Now I made it light blue. And you see, of course, this is reacting to our lights in the scene. So it may look a little bit different depending on the frame, because of course everything is reacting with the lights that we have. So let's say for now, maybe we want to do something like brownish tint here, something like that. A little bit of a classic design. Yeah, why not? Let's use this one here. And you can also change the color of the record itself. And here you have to be a little bit careful, because actually it is an emissive material. And if you add too much brightness, then this starts to glow. As you can see, now it's red, looks pretty cool. And here you can change the color of your record. But for now, I will stay with a black color. Now, the next option that I want to quickly show you is the display here. And you see the display now is not really visible because it is flat on our turntable. But I can rotate it inside the display controls. And if I put in here minus 90, then you will see that now it is nicely visible. And you can also change the position of this display. So for example, maybe we want to shift it a little bit to the left here, then we go to the X position. And let me tell you, you have to be really careful with the values here. This is not a standard value as you are used to in the position values. This is some kind of a multiplier. And you really have to go like 0.01, 0.02 like this. So now I shifted it to the wrong direction, so I put in a minus here. And you see now it jumps right into place, and now it's very nicely visible and looks really cool. So this is how you can reposition this little display. If you want to turn off the display, you can turn it off, of course, right here. So let's say you say, no, I don't need to see it because I already have it here. You can turn it off inside this composition. And if you want to turn it off on the turntable, then you can go to the turntable scene setup in the element controls, and there you can then turn off the individual elements. So for example, here we have the display, just turn off this little square here. And one little hint, if you create a bird's eye perspective, as I showed you before with the camera controls, I would recommend that you turn off the disc audio spectrum in and the disc audio spectrum out, because these are just not visible from the top. If you create a perspective view, then make sure to turn them on, because these are the main reaction elements. Okay, so the next step now is to stylize our audio spectrum a little bit, and here you have two controls. It's pretty simple. You can change the input color and you can change the hue interpolation. You see now if I change the input color, the color overall will change depending on these values here. If you set this to 0, then everything will take over the input color. If you set this to 360, we will have full rotation and kind of a rainbow spectrum, which also looks pretty cool. So actually I like this design, but what I will do now is I will just make this gray. I think that this looks a little bit better, the body color. Yeah, that looks really nice. Then we have the light options, and in the light options we also can change the flicker reaction. So this is the lights getting brighter with the intensity of our audio. If you don't want this, then just turn it off, and then these lights will just keep the values that you put in here. And of course you can also change the color of the lights, and you can create your own style here. So let's see, if I change the color here, you will see that the reflection here will change, and the overall look of course also will change quite dramatically. Undo that. Okay, so this is a basic customization, and you see that I turned off the display now, and I should maybe turn this on again quickly. Let's go to the scene setup and turn this on to finish my design here, and I think that it looks really cool actually. So let's turn this on again, click OK, and now it should be visible here again. And another thing that I want to tell you is you can of course change these spectrums here by entering these compositions. We have 3 of them. So this is the inner cylinder, this is the outer cylinder, and this is the vinyl disc. So you see that we have reactions on the disc itself, and they are visible right here if you take a look at the disc. And then we have these 2 cylinders, and these are the inner one and the outer one with these lines. And you can change these here, and there are 3 spectrums here. And if you're familiar with the audio spectrum control, then you can change this and create your own styles. Maybe for example, instead of the dots, you can use these digital spectrums, and if you go to the render comp, then you will see that this will update and will create a different style. So this is also fully customizable. That was what I wanted to show you here. But this is up to you to create a really cool audio visualizations with this template. If you have any more questions, then please feel free to contact me either through my VideoHive profile or through my website, which is www.graphicinmotion.com. Thank you very much for using my template, and thank you very much for watching this very long tutorial. Have fun, create really awesome animations, and I hope to see you soon. Goodbye.